All your life, you've been told to please others, to follow the path they've chosen for you. But what if I told you that living for others will only lead you to a profound emptiness? This story will open your eyes. In a small mountain village, surrounded by rice fields and streams, there lived a young man named Haru. From the time he was a boy, he was taught one thing over and over: respect what others say. Do what they want, and you will be loved. Haru carried this teaching like a law etched in stone. When his parents told him to study farming, he studied farming, even though his heart longed to draw shapes in the dirt. When his teachers demanded he memorize lessons, he obeyed, even though his mind wanted to sing poems he secretly composed. When neighbors advised, work harder. Don't waste time dreaming. He worked harder, burying his dreams in silence. People praised him often. Haru is such a good boy, they would say he listens. He never argues. Outwardly, Haru smiled, but inwardly he felt like an empty jar that could never be filled. As he grew older, this emptiness became a heavy burden. Lying under his bamboo roof at night, Haru would whisper to the darkness, "Why do I feel hollow when I've done everything right? Why does it feel like my life isn't my own?" But with the morning sun, he'd put on the same smile and continue obeying everyone. One afternoon, after a long day in the fields, Haru's childhood friend, Kenji, approached him. Kenji was bold and carefree, often mocked for his stubbornness. "Haru," he said, "you're always doing what they say. Don't you ever get tired?" Haru sighed. "If I don't, they'll be disappointed, maybe even angry. I can't live with that." Kenji looked at him intently, then shook his head. "No, my friend. You can't live with disappointing yourself. That's the real prison." Those words pierced Haru's heart. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Kenji's voice echoed in his mind. "You can't live with disappointing yourself." The next morning, Haru made a decision. He walked to the edge of the forest where an old Zen master was said to live, a man rumored to guide lost souls. With a trembling hand, Haru knocked on the small hut's wooden door. The master, with a long white beard and calm, knowing eyes, welcomed him in silence. Haru poured out his heart. "Master," he began, "all my life, I have lived to please others. I do everything they ask, yet I feel empty and broken. Please, tell me what is wrong with me." The master listened patiently. Then he handed Haru an empty clay jar. Without a word of explanation, he said, "Go to the river, fill this jar, and bring it back to me." Confused, Haru obeyed. He dipped the jar into the cool, flowing water and filled it to the brim. But as he carried it back, he noticed water leaking from a fine crack along its side. By the time he reached the hut, most of the water was gone. He lowered his head in shame. "Forgive me, master. The jar is broken. I cannot keep it full." The master smiled gently. "Exactly. This jar is your life. You are trying to fill it with everyone else's expectations, but the cracks of your own soul leak them away. No matter how hard you try, you will never feel full until you pour into it what truly belongs to you." Haru's eyes widened. "But master, if I stop living for others, won't they call me selfish? Won't I lose their love?" The master placed a hand on his shoulder, his voice calm but firm. "Tell me, Haru, what is worse? Being called selfish by others, or betraying yourself every single day of your life?" Those words struck Haru like a bolt of lightning. For a moment, his chest tightened and tears welled in his eyes. He realized he had been betraying himself for years, killing his dreams, silencing his voice, and hiding his true soul, all to win the approval of others. That night, for the first time in a long time, Haru searched under his bed and pulled out an old wooden box. Inside were a brush and some faded paints, his secret treasure from childhood. With trembling hands, he dipped the brush and began painting under the moonlight. Every stroke brought tears to his eyes, but it also brought life back into his heart. For hours, he painted the river, the mountains, and even the cracked jar. For the first time, he felt truly alive. Days turned into weeks. Haru continued to work in the fields and help his parents, but he no longer buried his soul. Every evening he painted. Slowly, word of his art spread through the village. Some laughed, a farmer wasting time with colors. Others whispered he's lost his mind. At first, their words stung, but Haru remembered the master's question. What is worse, being called selfish or betraying yourself? He chose not to betray himself anymore. Then, something surprising happened. The same villagers who had mocked him began to admire his paintings. A traveling merchant saw his art and offered to buy it. Soon Haru's work spread far beyond the village. People from other towns came to see the young farmer who painted with such soul. More importantly, Haru no longer felt empty. He still helped his parents and cared for his friends, but he was no longer a prisoner of their approval. He lived for his truth. One evening, as the sun set, the village children gathered around him. Haru told them the story of the cracked jar. If you live only for others, he said, your life will always leak away. But if you dare to pour your own dreams and your own truth into your jar, it will finally be full. The children listened with wide eyes. Some of the adults who had once mocked him now nodded in silence, understanding the depth of his words. Years later, Haru was remembered not just as a farmer or a painter, but as the man who showed his village the power of living true to oneself. He taught us something greater than farming or painting, they would say. He taught us how to live. So, my friend, remember this story. If you spend your whole life trying to please everyone else, you will lose yourself. But if you dare to live your truth, you will inspire others to do the same. If you found wisdom in this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Thank you for watching.